This is where we hold them. This is where we fight.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.
Rob, what's good, homie?
Mike, tonight's show I'm so jazzed for it that I actually am here making sure my hands are dry and not sweaty, holding a Sweep the Rack Worst of the Week rosin bag. And also there's some interesting things happening that Mike doesn't even know about that I've been working on behind the scenes. I'm in the middle of opening up a Etsy store to sell our Sweep the Rack rosin bags. I decided to take down the website. It was just way too much work for me, and decided that I'd rather have another, reputable company hosting our rosin bag sales. So if you still want a rosin bag, I will give you guys the Etsy store. I might be talking to somebody in the next couple days about t-shirts. So expect to see some t-shirts with some different designs. There may
All
or may
I'm
not
saying
be.
is I want, when we start, because we've talked about doing t-shirts, I feel like 24 times over the last
Oh no,
3
this
years.
is happening.
It
This
never
is happening.
materializes. But if we do t-shirts, I demand, I don't request, okay? I demand that one of the first shirts is just a shirt with that worst of the year Reddit post printed on it. That's all I want. I want that worst of the year with the full Reddit post posted on the shirt. Okay.
I'll see what I could do. There may or may not be also a Patch Pirate shirt that you could
I
buy.
mean,
There may or
please.
may not be a
That would
Sweep
be
the
our
Rack.
top seller. You know that.
I know
You
that.
know that's going to be our top
So
seller.
yeah, so I am working on that. I am working on t-shirt designs. I am going to be getting that set up, and so there will be more to come. So that way people can go on Etsy and they could sign up and they could buy it. And I'm also might talk to Lindy's Bags about getting us just regular logo rosin bags, which we had before. But
First
anyway,
edition. First edition rosin
yeah,
bags. Now
original
we're on
OG,
second edition.
OG,
Maybe we do a third edition. Third edition rosin bags.
Maybe. So more to come. I should hopefully by the next few weeks have something up where we could start getting going on this. But I'm excited about it, and yeah, more to come. So anyway,
Listen,
Mike.
best intro in the bowling podcast game. Shout to Jimmy on that. Shout to the Ringing 10 on that. But our intro tonight, we should have changed it. We should have set it to Jimmy to do a little change, because one of those people that gets the spear in them tonight should have been USBC lane condition explanation. Okay, like that should have.
Dude,
I think tonight, like, we're gonna take the giant spear on behalf of a part of the bowling community, and we're gonna launch the spear and impale the excuses and reasons behind what is going on at the USBC Queens.
This story gets wilder and wilder, honestly, the more I look into it. And I told everybody on social media, on Twitter, that I was going to look into this. And I asked around. They already won Worst of the Week, so we don't even got to go to that. But I reached out to a lot of my contacts, Mike. So how I got this info when that got broke to me, a PWBA pro unnamed reached out to me directly that Thursday night. It was 5/18 because I remember, because my birthday was 5/19. Yeah, I know. Happy birthday to me.
Happy birthday, Rob.
Appreciate it. She reached out to me and she said, "You'll never guess what happened." I'm like, "What?" Like, this is hilarious. So she tells me what's going on. She's dropping DMs, and I'm like, this doesn't sound really like, something that is good for the ladies bowling out there. So I was asking more questions, and then I realized, oh crap, this is actually a pretty decent deal, right? Especially for the ladies bowling, right, that are crossing on these pairs. Anyway, so I put it on social media. I put it out early, but I put it out based on what she was telling me, like literally direct info.
To be
And
clear,
then
Rob broke the story. Rob broke the story, son.
I did, and I didn't realize.
Scoops Pirashad over here. Okay,
I didn't even
Just get
realize I
it
was.
correct.
I just thought it was an interesting story. 70 shares later on our Facebook page, I'm like, holy crap, like people are really interested in this, and this is a wild story, right? So I'm gonna give some facts here, Mike. You let me go through a rundown here of exactly what I know, facts, questions that I have, and then we can kind of go from there.
Can we just real quick hold on? I gotta look this up real quick. Hold on. Can we just real fast? What did I do with the tweet? Now I can't find the tweet. Jeez. Hold on. Sorry. I'm sorry, folks. We got to give this guy credit. We got to give this guy credit, like right at the top of the show before we even.
The email from
Yeah.
Connor.
Yeah. So big shout to Connor Egan, all right, one of our listeners, who's actually a homie of Alex Swords, friend of the show. Alex, what's good, homie? So Connor reached out to us Saturday with an amazing email. I mean, it was like top 5 email we've ever gotten for the show, and we've gotten some bangers over here. And basically, not only does he break down a lot of what went on with this incident, but he also sent us a series of videos,
which we're going to watch
from Bowl TV that he pulled from Bowl TV from that pair, and he just gave us some really accurate and interesting observations about what he saw going on out there while he was watching and after taking a look at these videos. So before we even get into it, I do want to give a shout to him for reaching out to us with that breakdown, because without him, honestly, I don't know if we would be able to do as good a job discussing this if we didn't have the videos broken down and all that. So shout to Connor Egan. Our listeners are the shit. We appreciate you guys. Keep the emails coming. Go ahead, Rob.
So, some facts here. So, people who don't know the story, exactly what happened to USBC Queens at Sam's Town in Las Vegas, lanes 38 and 41 were the lanes that were in question, right? These lanes were hooking a ton more. Mike, I'm not talking like hooking more like a few boards. They were obviously hooking more. I mean, these balls were hooking, almost it felt like 30 feet, 25 feet down the lane. They were literally, the righties were missing left. I mean, missing, like picking 3 off the left. And there's some video. We'll show the videos here about how crazy like these lanes look. 38 and 41 are in question. So the PWA pair reaches out to me. She tells me that there was some protests submitted on these lanes, which the USBC then denies in their social media post, which I will read. And I don't know if that's true or not. If there were protests submitted by the ladies, that's a speculation. That was hearsay from one of the PWA pros who spoke to me about this problem.
Connor Egan in the chat. Shout Connor, thank you.
Yes.
If that's your picture, Connor, you look too respectable to be listening to this show and hanging out with us. But no doubt, son. We appreciate it.
Okay, so the videos were crazy. Let me show some of the videos here.
Let's see the videos, because you know what? I'm fried over this, Hoss. We used to do a skit back in the day called "I'm Fried, Hoss." I think there might have been an F-bomb in the introduction of that skit too, but I don't remember. But it was called "I'm Fried." And Rob, I'm fried. I'm fried over this. I'm fried over what happened. I'm fried over the USBC's refusal to take responsibility for what has happened in this incident, and it's just nonsense. It really is. Okay. I mean, if you watch these videos as a bowler, there's no way you can reach the logical conclusion that these lanes were done the same as every other lane in this. I mean, Come on.
So wait, so watch 37, okay? Look, she literally picks clean. Look now, watch 38. Okay, it's slow, right? But yo, dude, like
And it's
that,
left, and they're
and
just warming up.
but look at, but I want to show this again. Now look at 36, right? 36. Look at the shot on 36 compared to 37 to 38, right? So she's getting up on 38, right? So she throws it. I mean, dude, it's not even close, okay? But there's more videos,
Well,
okay?
hold on. Let's break this video down real quick. I'll be honest. I don't think this is the best video.
All right, so I'm gonna pull another
Here's
video.
why. Here's why.
I'll
Just
pull
let me. I think the girl on the left on 37. It looks like she's throwing plastic anyway. Okay, it looks like she's kind of shooting a 10-pin, and that's why the ball goes.
Okay,
right
you're right.
through,
You're right. My
okay.
bad on that. You're right. You're
the girl,
right.
Now, hold on. There's the shot on the right. Okay.
I
Now
can't.
pause it. Pause it for a second.
Yeah.
Now that shot to me obviously looked like a first shot in warm up. Right? To me, the lanes just came on for practice here. These were two of the first shots that were thrown in practice on this pair. So that could happen.
Another video. I'll show another video.
Right?
I'm gonna show another one.
Like I've had instances where I'm real slow and I miss left and the ball hooks off the lane. Shot one. Okay, whatever. Go ahead. Let's look at another one. Let's look at another video. Because the context of these videos is important too. Like when they happen and what we're looking at and what time of the squad it is and all that, it kind of matters here.
Yeah, that's practice. And this is from my understanding, this is the A squad practice. Okay.
Right.
Okay, so look at 36. That's a strike shot, right? She misses 45 feet. Now look at 38. Come on. This is a ton better video. Look at 37. Look, they're 45 feet.
There's now that's a better video.
Watch,
because you see yeah.
Look at 38. Okay, come on, Mike. You don't, dude.
No, look at 37. You on 37. Pause it for a second.
I'm just gonna replay it.
In this shot, what you see on 37 is the girl who just went up on 38 and took out the whole left side.
Yeah,
she basically throws the same shot that she did on 38, and it goes straight and washes out.
So you see 36 misses the head pin right. 37 gets up, wash out. 38, she throws a shot, she misses the head pin left. This video is proof enough. I don't have to see any other videos, Mike. I don't have to see any other videos than this video right here.
There's an even better one, though.
I got more.
Yeah, there's better ones here. There's more damning evidence here.
Oh, wait, this is the one we already watched.
Yeah, this is the one we already watched, right?
Okay.
That's the first one we watched.
No, we watched this one too.
We watched this one, right?
Okay,
we watched this.
Let me pull up another one here. I got a whole bunch of them here. Watch, look.
Okay.
Sorry. Give me a few minutes. Let me pull up some more videos here. Craziest thing, Mike. I can't even fathom. I'm going to pull up a random one here. So this is
I'm not sure. Larry in the chat wants us to show the same bowler on both lanes. I don't know if we have a video one bowler on both lanes, but we only selected certain shots here, Larry.
This is shot one of game 2. You want to see some competition?
This is the best one.
Okay, let me share this here. I can't wait. Oh, let's replay this. I'll make this bigger.
And that's Brianna Clemmer. I mean, that's
Brianna Clemmer.
That's one of the best bowlers on tour on the women's tour. Okay.
Yeah. That's just. I mean, this is the game 2. So that just shows you This is 45 feet, Mike. Really? This isn't even a full-blown Brooklyn Vic. This is what would you even call this? This isn't even close to Brooklyn, and that's a urethane ball she's throwing, I believe.
No, that ball hits the 2-pin on the. That ball hits the 2-4. This ball makes the 2-4, right?
Yeah,
That ball makes the 2-4. So that's way outside of a Brooklyn. Okay.
yeah.
But again, like, that's one of the better female bowlers on tour, and to see that happen
Must
in
be Liz
game
Johnson.
2,
Liz Johnson.
Okay. Now let that play. Let that play for a second. Replay that. Watch what she does after the ball hits the pins. Watch this. She looks down and checks her foot. She the goat looks down and checks her foot. Do you see this?
This is Liz Johnson. I mean, she obviously missed left on that shot. She did, but I mean, there's no. Well,
she checked her foot to see, like, was I standing on the wrong dot? What is going on?
Yeah. Let's pull just one random one here. This is game shot 3, game 3, Mike. They're just, I mean, there's at this point you're just laughing.
I couldn't see that one very well, but okay. Okay, again, crossover, leaves the rail plus the 8.
I can't with this. All right, Mike. I think people get the point, right?
No. I need the video with the lefty.
Oh, all right. Let me see if I can find that.
I need the video with the lefty.
Yeah.
It's game 2. It's game 2. I forget which one it is. No, it's not. No.
Let's try this one.
Okay.
I think this is it, Mike. This is it right
here. This is it. Okay.
First shot on this pair. Come on, you gotta, Mike.
I mean, does that not tell you everything you need to see? And this, Connor gave us a breakdown in the email that this lady, this was game 2, okay, first frame, game 2, and she shot 216 the first game, okay? So we're talking about somebody who bowled a really good game the first game and obviously had a clear idea of what was going on the lanes to shoot almost 220 game 1.
But, Mike, I want to show you context here. Watch Missy Parkin on 36, Mike. Watch her shot. Forget 38. Watch Missy Parkin's shot. Do you think if that shot she threw on 38, that was going to strike like that?
Would have went in the left gutter.
It would have went in the left gutter. Because Liz Johnson threw it in exactly the same spot as Missy Parkin did when she missed left, and she literally missed the head pin left. Missy Parkin gets up on 36. She throws the exact same spot, and she goes high flush. So you're telling me that? Look, watch 36. She goes high flush. Mike, So I have a few questions. Okay, I think people get the point. Okay, I think I've seen enough when it comes to the video, right? Here's my question. And now I don't really know these. This is the facts that I don't know. Were the ladies who were practicing on A squad, 10 minutes of practice, were there complaints then during practice? Okay, Mike? So if I'm practicing and I'm bowling the Masters, right? And these guys you're missing 3 off the left on the right lane, and you're going washout on the left lane, and you're looking around, and you're going to look at other bowlers, and you're like, wait, there's something off here. They're going to know pretty quickly. This is the best in the world, right? Just like the ladies, these are the best in the world, these ladies. Was there any concerns vocalized to the USBC, the tournament director, Rob Gottschall, I believe is tournament director, Chad Murphy was in the building, was there. Was there any concerns during practice? That's my first question, okay? Because if there wasn't, if the ladies just kind of did their business and they weren't going to be vocalized, they weren't going to be vocal and share their concerns. Once they start and it gets past the first or second game, and then the USBC learns about there may be a lane condition malfunction, what can they do at that point? What can you do at that point?
If it's when are we talking again? Sorry. Are we
What?
talking during practice?
No, I'm talking if it gets to game 1 or 2 and they've already bowled a game or two on these pairs, and then USBC learns about the malfunction of these lane machines, right? What can they do at that point?
Yeah, but see, part of the problem here is the USBC says there was no malfunction.
That's a whole nother
says
topic.
They didn't do anything wrong. The USBC says that those lanes that we just watched were oiled the same way that every other lane was.
Okay, so this morning I told you, I said, Mike, I'm going to reach out to Chad Murphy. So I sent him a group text with me and you on it, right? I reached out to Chad. We're on good terms with Chad. He was a guest on our show. Let me read some of the text messages because it's just an interesting thing because I think what people are looking for here is they're looking for accountability, Mike.
So you asked what they should have done.
What do you think
what they should have done is they should have stopped play, reran those pairs, the two pairs that were impacted, or maybe just the two lanes. It wasn't even two pairs. It was two lanes, right? Reran the two lanes that were impacted. And then they should have given everyone a few minutes practice, restarted the squad from where it was, okay, with those lanes now properly oiled. And they should have allowed, after the squad was over, they should have allowed the players impacted by that issue to re-bowl game 1. After all the games are bowled, squad is done. However many people hit those pairs. No re-oil. Like, you're going to bowl on whatever's left over when the squad is done.
Just let them re-bowl the game.
Yes, they re-bowl the game and they replace their score for that game. Or anybody who hit those pairs gets a full refund from the USBC. And when I say full refund, I mean every penny they spent to attend this tournament should be refunded to them. Even expenses that didn't go to the USBC. Flight, hotel, food, all costs for the week should be refunded by the USBC because that is just some bullshit.
Okay,
but just to be plain and simple about it.
So Chad Murphy tells us, obviously, this is before the USBC put out their social media post, which I will read. Chad Murphy pretty much essentially told us that it was a topography issue on the lanes.
Hold on a minute. I want to address Jared's question. So one lane has a game in practice and the other is fresh? No. I was saying if they caught this early, like, say, practice. But listen, Jared, to answer your question, like, even if they didn't catch it until the end of game 1, I think it would be a better solution to have one lane that has a game and practice on it and the other lane just has some practice on it and is starting fresh going into game 2, and let everybody know that, be clear about that, make an announcement, make sure everybody knows that, than to do what they did. Somebody in the chat above said, well, you would have been smarter to not say anything about it and let the other people hit that pair unprepared. But there's ball reps out there. So
everybody knew about it.
They're going to be on top of it within a couple frames.
Everybody knew about it. So I want to talk about what the USBC said the issue was. They put out social media, but in regards to the the debacle, pretty much saying that I'll read it. Social media comments stating the lanes were not oiled are incorrect. Additionally, no formal protest was made. I think that was in direct response to what I tweeted, saying that they were incorrectly oiled and there was a protest made. So I really directly think they were actually talking to me on this. I mean, I could be wrong. The USBC investigated the situation, interviewing the lane machine operator, analyzing the tapes of the lanes, which we'll talk about. The operator report procedures were allowed to confirm proper oil volume was applied. Lane tapes indicated the pattern was applied with tolerance. Given the investigation did not reveal evidence of an error or malfunction, there is no further action to be taken at this time. For reference, included in this post are graphs comparing tapes taken from lanes 37, 38 after 5 games on Thursday and after 5 games on Friday, and a baseline graph of the freshly oiled pattern. Okay. Now, I have a few things here. Chad on our text message talked about topography. Okay. The social media post never even brought up topography of the lanes. Okay. So there's already some conflicting information that we were getting compared to what the social media post. Am I wrong there, Mike? Okay. If Chad is talking about topography, that's not the right. That's incorrect. Okay. I'm going to say that I'm going to disagree with Chad. Okay. On that, because if it was topography, I reached out to a couple of PBA players because I don't know a whole lot about topography. Topography could be an issue if it's only for right-handers or only for left-handers. Essentially, it would affect only righties and only lefties. That's not the case on these lanes, okay? We saw a video that it affected the lefties and the righties, okay? Forget topography, okay? Those would be the most infamous lanes ever in the history of bowling if the topography was that bad to affect the reaction the way it did when we saw those videos, okay? Mike, that would be the worst crosses in the history. You'd be walking into Sam's Town being like, please God, don't get me lanes 38 or 41, right?
No, it would. If that were the case, those 2 lanes would be the most 2 famous lanes in bowling. Right?
Yeah.
Everybody in the bowling community would know, oh yeah, these 2 lanes, oh my goodness, like crazy.
Right. But they would be Friday, right? They would be bad. Today they would have been bad. I mean, they would be bad across the whole tournament if the topography was the issue. They couldn't do anything. If they're saying they put out the same oil, the same pattern, the same everything, and it was a topography issue, those lanes would be terrible the rest of the tournament, okay? That wasn't the case, okay? The lanes were fine. We haven't heard any blowback or feedback since this Thursday, since this issue, right? Okay, the lane tape data that the USBC released. There's a few issues with the lane tape data they released on their social media. It's all dated on 5/19, which was my birthday. The problem of what was going on was on 5/18. The lane tape data was only 15 feet. It says it right here. They only showed 15 feet of distance. Okay? Where's the 40 feet? Where's the 45 feet? Where's the 35 feet? I want to see more than just the 15 board. There's something not adding up here, Mike. Now,
well, can I say something? Can I say something obvious?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Absolutely.
If this was a topography issue, okay, wouldn't that have been seen on the practice day?
Yes.
Wouldn't that have been seen in the pre-tournament practice?
Yes.
Where all these ladies got to go out and practice on these pairs and on this shot. And there didn't seem to be any mention at all after practice of, oh man, these 2 lanes. You know, you would have had people putting out videos saying, wow, look at the difference in these lanes. And we checked them and they're right. And this is just because of topography. And people need to be aware of this. And oh man, no one said anything. So how were they right the day before? And then this is what they're like on this day.
Do you know what this shows me? Do you know what this shows me, Mike? This whole situation. This shows me that the USBC thinks we're dumb.
Oh yeah, they think they could just say whatever they want, and we're just gonna accept it. Yeah, I mean it's ridiculous.
You want to read my brother's post here?
Yeah, I think it's an important point. I wanted to make this point while you were
Okay,
talking there.
go ahead.
Jeff points out that the lane tape data from 519 had 15 feet and 42 feet. The lane tape data from 518, which is the date that was in question,
Yes.
only had 15 feet. But we know 15 feet was fine because the ball didn't start hooking until like 25 or 30 feet, right? So where is the lane tape data for further down the lane for 518?
Right. Where is
Okay,
it?
where's that?
It's like JFK. Like nobody knows. Like it's buried somewhere. Like with Hoffa under Giant Stadium. Mike.
The magic bullet disappeared.
Honestly, but this shows you that the USBC really thinks that we're going to taste their bullshit and say, tasty. Okay. I look. I'm just going by facts. I'm going by videos, and there is something not kosher in this whole thing. The USBC, all they needed to do was take accountability for the problem. The lane was a malfunction. Make it right for the ladies and say, we're going to make it right. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're going to make it right for all the ladies who crossed on this pair. There's people who are traveling overseas. They're traveling thousands of miles, spending a ton of money. And if I would have got on this pair in game 5 and I would have bowled 130 and it would have cost me the top 60 to make the match play, Mike, I would have been beside myself. I would have been so freaking angry. I would have walked right into the USBC. I would have been banned. I would have flipped tables. Mike, it would have been imagine if this wasn't a PBA, if this happened, Mike, what would the guys have done?
And I mean, what makes it worse to me too, is that we're talking about a tournament where 63 people make the cut. So it's not like we're talking a tournament where 12 or 18 or 24 make the cut, and you really got to be at the top of the field to make the cut. You're talking about a tournament where you could, 63 people make the cut. So like you could bowl, like you could bowl, a mediocre game and still make it, right, and still get in. But people who hit this pair, if they bowled an even sub-mediocre game, that could cost them making the cut. So like it's even worse to me being that 63 people make the cut here.
So here's the other thing too that really kills me is if I crossed on this pair the first maybe game or two of the tournament and I didn't really know or was aware of the lanes and how they were, that would have been even more of that would have chopped my ass. Because by games 3, 4, and 5, the ball reps, they were telling everybody that knew that they were crossing these pairs on that. Look, 38 is hooking like 100 boards more. And it was, a known topic through the bowlers there. And I know that for a fact because the PWBA Pro told me that was the case. Where when those bowlers got to those pairs, they were starting with their plastic on the right lane, or they were playing the left gutter fallbacks, which we saw Gigi Mason's video of her throwing a target zone at 20. They were starting that way because the tour reps were giving at that knowledge. So yes, was that an advantage for the people who were crossing compared to the people who crossed that pair in game 1 or 2 who didn't know what the hell was going on? Absolutely. Still, though, like, this is the USBC. This is the national governing body, Mike, that is running the tournament. Okay? This isn't just some slapdick fucking, local tournament where they screwed up the lane. Like, this is the USBC Queens. This is how this could happen is beyond me, Mike. Like, honestly, like, I'm lost for words.
Bella Love, what's good? What's good, young hoss?
Bella, did she hit the pairs that she bowling?
Future goat is in the building. What's good?
Did she hit those pairs? I want to know. But you know what? I saw an interesting comment that I want to pull up.
I also want to say, Uga, you better be careful, bro, because you're giving us a lot of info here, and you're trolling us on Twitter a lot. And if you think we don't have the connections to take what you're saying here and figure out who you actually are, be aware, my man. It won't be that hard to do. So
I guess my question would be is, I heard I haven't seen who put the comment on, but I read that are they fining the women for speaking out about these?
That's what people are saying.
Oh,
that's what saying,
Mike. Because I saw some YouTube.
Mike Worm says more than one bowler was fined for being outspoken and conduct detrimental PWBA, USBC. We can't confirm that. We can't
Well,
confirm
guess
that.
what, Mike? We can't get fined, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and say it. It's a bunch of bullshit what happened to these women bowling out there. It is a bunch of bullshit. The USBC should be freaking ashamed of themselves for what happened at this tournament. The ladies deserve better. This is a major. They're traveling hundreds of thousands of miles to bowl this tournament, and the USBC fucked it up. They dicked the dog. It's just unbelievable. It makes me furious, Mike. It makes me furious. And
Yeah,
these
but it's
ladies
not-
can't speak up about it?
Kevin Herbert in the chat took the words right out of my mouth. Like, it's not so much that the mistake happened, right? Mistakes happen.
They
Okay?
happen.
Mistakes happen.
I don't know how it happened.
It's the fact that they will not acknowledge that there was a mistake here.
Take accountability. These ladies want someone to take accountability for what the fuck happened, Mike. Instead of this bullshit social media posts where they're, talking about, that everything's the same and no actions are being made and all kinds of bullshit. Take accountability. Yeah, like Lane's got effed up.
Yeah, but like, do you guys? And I'm asking you, Rob, but I'm saying to everybody that's a part of our little small community here. Do you guys really expect the USBC, who hasn't taken accountability for anything ever, in the debacle of what has happened in bowling over the last few decades, do you really expect the USBC, who hasn't taken responsibility for anything, to take responsibility on something like this?
Well, yes. You know why? For this specific case, I do. Because the video evidence says everything, Mike. That lefty we saw throw that shot on shot 1 of game 2, that video evidence shows everything that we need to see. Okay, you compare the shots that the righties were throwing on those lanes compared to Missy Parkin on 36, yanking it to 15 and going high flush. It says everything. And the evidence is against them, and they're still denying it, even that the evidence is so clear, right? With the whole ball testing and they're
treating
softness.
us like we're stupid.
Exactly.
Okay, that's what that's what's infuriating about it to me.
Right. It's
right? Like when we had the conversation with Chad through text the other day, he was insinuating to us that the information out there was false.
Right.
Okay. And I said to him, say what you want, Chad. The videos speak for themselves, bro.
Yeah, and I said,
unless those videos are made up and doctored, then the videos tell you everything that you need to see, right? So, again, to me, it's not the fact that a mistake is made. Everybody makes mistakes. It's not the fact that the lanes were done wrong. Rob, we have bowled in tournaments ourselves together where mistakes were made with doing the lanes, like the Youth Masters in 1998. Okay, it was like
they were fucked up through the whole building, though.
They were messed up through the whole building, but it was a frustrating condition, and a lot of people were upset about it. But you know what? To Gary Beck's credit, he admitted that a mistake was made, and this is how we're going to move on. This is how we're going to do it going forward. Okay, so the infuriating thing here to me is just the refusal, the refusal of the USBC to admit what we all see is clearly the truth, right? And then on top of that, to treat us like morons, to treat us like we don't know what we see, okay, makes it even worse, right? It makes it even worse. And like, honestly, I'm going to say this. I probably shouldn't say this because I'm not here to talk about what I do for a living, but if you follow me on Twitter, you know I talk a lot about public education on Twitter, and I have a lot of opinions. I've been a public school teacher for 20-some years. Rob, one of my biggest frustrations with the public education system is the fraudulence, okay? And I'm serious, bro. And the fact that they will, administrators in public schools will look at a situation and say, oh no, there's nothing wrong here. This is this and that, and they categorize it in a certain way. And to somebody like me who's been doing it 20 years, what they say couldn't be further from the truth. And it just really aggravates me to no end. Like you are just lying You're not even recharacterizing. You're just straight up lying. Okay.
So look, like here's the
And
thing:
that's
is
what's
like
going on here. I mean,
it's amazing.
I'm not going to go as far as to accuse any individual of lying, but my goodness gracious, like anybody who looks at that evidence and thinks that the lanes were done the same, you must think that we are really stupid, son. For real.
I can't. It's unbelievable. Like I showed video of those shots to some PBA pros, and obviously I'm not going to say who, and they were just like, "Are you freaking kidding me?" And I'm just like, "No, that's like legit video." Like, and the more videos I showed, the more they were just like, "That's unbelievable." And the USBC is like saying like, "Oh, they were the same, that the tapes were the same, and that everything was the same, and there were no problems and no issues." Mike, this is just it's such a bad, and I feel bad for the ladies, Mike Bowling, more than I do for anybody. Like
my other question in this is here. So I'm assuming that because there wasn't any hullabaloo after practice, that it wasn't like this in practice the day before the tournament started. I'm assuming that because there wasn't any hullabaloo, the lanes weren't that different on these pairs the rest of the event. Right? Can anybody I mean, were they like this for 3 days?
No, it was just that one squad. I think they fixed it. So it was a
So what else
problem.
do you
It was
need
an
to know?
issue.
If it was topography,
It would be like
it
that.
would have been like that the whole time. Would have been like
Yeah.
that the whole week. Unless they did something different to the condition on that lane the other days to where it wasn't like that. And if that's the case, that's even worse. Because then you're changing it without saying anything to anybody.
I know. The whole thing smells is just unbelievable.
But again, this is an organization that allowed the sport side of our game.
Oh, here we go. Forget it.
To just go
Oh
away.
my God.
Okay, so do you really expect accountability? Do you really expect accountability?
Oh, that's hilarious. I knew you were going to manage to take a shot at the house conditions somewhere during this whole 42 minutes that we were talking about this Queens drama.
That's what I love.
All right,
to do,
Mike.
Yeah?
There was some PBA bowling that happened, and I want to get to that because I want to put this to rest. Let's finish on the USBC Queens. The finals is Tuesday, so stay tuned. Hopefully, I would be dead, Mike, if the TV pairs were on 37-8 or 41-2. That would just kill me, Mike, if they actually did that.
If they do that, they're trolling us, son.
Oh, they should do it. That would be the freaking most funniest thing ever. I would give a shout to the USBC for putting the TV pair.
Tony Fortune in the chat. What's up, Tony? I don't recognize that name. Seems like first time joiner here. Saying this would never fly in a PBA national event. It's interesting you say that, Tony. This has happened before in a PBA national event. Jeff Rickles talked about it in one of the articles that he put out about this. And it was a Tour Trials event, RPI Regional and Tour Trials event. And they put out the wrong pattern on half of the house. So it was supposed to be Cheetah, and they put out Chameleon. And they announced it. They recognized it. They admitted that a mistake was made after the players pointed it out. And John Weber, who was directing that tournament, made a decision about how it was going to be handled going forward. Okay, I forget. I don't want to say what the decision was because
they owned up. They took accountability.
They did. They took accountability, and they came up with a solution.
And it wasn't a big deal.
And you know what? That's not that big of a deal.
No,
that's not that big of a deal.
Right.
Like this incident. I'm telling you, it's a little window. It's a little window into what it must really be like at the USBC.
Well, it makes you think, right? It makes you think. It makes you think that, like, wait a sec, if they could do something like this and then put a post up like this that is not even, they're taking zero accountability for obvious something was wrong, then what other things are they doing, right? So, crazy.
Wild.
Anyway, okay, Mike. There was some bowling on this weekend. Not a fan of the Super Slam. By the way,
oh God,
I'm very vocal.
We're a lot of people ain't gonna like what we have to say here.
A lot of people. So yesterday they ran a 2-hour show of the top 5 players at And Mike, safe to say, yesterday was probably the most boring 2 hours of TV that I've ever watched in my life. Uh, I mean, really, really, really bad. I honestly, Mike, I was on Twitter and I didn't make it through the show. I didn't. I didn't watch the last half of the show. Once the first two games were bowled, I didn't even finish it because it was lacking a lot of just entertainment, competition. Just felt like the pros were going through the motions of just bowling these qualifying games, and yeah, it was just sad. It was just sad because they have this like window and TV time to really do something with this TV time for the PBA, and this is the product they put out. And to finish my point here, I'm tired and I'm sick of tired of people, especially players or old players, telling me, Mike, that well, any bowling on TV is better than no bowling on TV. I hate that shit. No. Okay. Entertaining bowling is what bowling needs to be on TV. Not any bowling needs to be on TV. Okay. Um, so yeah. So thoughts about the show yesterday. I don't even want to get into the results because it really to me, I didn't even really care at that point.
I got to be honest. I thought that the 17-man step ladder was probably the laziest and worst idea that I've seen in professional bowling in quite some time. But I think this one was worse.
Yeah, this one takes the cake, which is
I'll be
crazy. At least
honest with you.
at least the 17-man step ladder, there was a little bit of like heads up match play, like you know what I mean. But this was just
That
like
show yesterday was absolute shit. I mean, it
it was
was
bad. You
the
couldn't. It was
worst,
bad.
most boring PBA show I had ever watched. It reminded me the shows I like the least in the last, let's say, 15, 20 years of the PBA were probably the shows that they did with the manufacturer teams that were at the Six Flags locations, right? And I hated those shows because I just thought that they were exhibitions and it was very like corny and forced, and some people weren't really taking it that seriously, and so yeah. But I got to say, this show yesterday wins that award. I mean, it was terrible. I don't even know how that was watchable to anybody. To have guys bowl games on their own with no competition, nothing. Then you're interviewing them halfway through the game. Really awkward. I just didn't like it. To me, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm a little under the weather tonight, so you have to forgive my sniffles here, my voice. I apologize to the people that are just listening. The amount of alternatives to this is just endless. I mean, almost anything would have been better than this. And I want to point out a couple things here. This was a whole separate show that they took all of the equipment, all of the set, all of the people down to Florida, from New Jersey down to Florida. I reached out to someone and I asked them, what is the PBA looking at on production costs for this event? The answer I got was $200,000. Okay, that Bolero spent in production cost on this event. To get that out of the kind of money that you're spending is just ridiculous. It's sad.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, Mike, one of my thoughts that I've been pressing since I talked about this last week with the Super Slam, remember, is that they really should have took that money and these resources that were put for the Super Slam, scrap the Super Slam altogether. Okay, scrap it. Okay, take the money and the resources and the TV time and the big box and the TV time they get, and try to make it work for either one to give it to the PBA league to give them more TV time, more prize money, better product there, right? Because that to me is probably the most entertaining bowling you'll see all year. Or they could have used the 2-hour window they had there, and they could have had the Roth home and doubles, which we watched on Bowl TV, and that was very entertaining. That was amazing bowling, right? There was some amazing matches, a lot of drama there. But in reality, they could have done anything to fill the 2 hours. So,
not to mention,
this aired over
that,
Roth home and doubles, and maybe Mike, I don't know.
not to mention that you're basically taking, and I'm not, I guess I will include McCune in this too, because he did win a $100,000 event. You're basically taking the 5 guys that made the most money for the year, and you're giving them what amounts to a free shot at 100,000. Okay.
Yeah,
Now
it's like
I want to point something out. I want to point something out here, because I had this idea while I was watching that boring ass show yesterday, and I started to kind of go through things and take a look. Rob, Chris Prather, okay, didn't have a great year for Chris Prather standards this year. Okay.
No.
In 14 events, okay, he bowled 14 events this year. He made $31,000. Okay?
I know where you're going with
He made
this.
$31,000. Stu Williams actually had what I would say is a better year than he has had the last few, right? Had a pretty decent year for him. Rob, 14 events, he made 35 grand.
Right.
Okay. Kevin Williams, 14 events, 41,000. Thomas Keiko.
Great year.
He might be the rookie of the year.
Should be, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Had a great year. 18 events, Rob, 53,000. Okay.
They didn't even break out even with the travel expenses, probably.
Tom Darty, 14 events, 28,000. Sean Lavery Spar, pretty good year this year, right? 14 events, 34,000.
So I know where you're getting with this. Yeah.
AJ Johnson. No, I want to keep going. AJ Johnson, 14 events, 35,000. Matt Russo.
Okay.
Great season.
We got it.
14 events, 32,000.
Okay, we got it.
All right, so what's my point?
Get to the point. I know what your point's going to be.
Go ahead.
Give these guys a shot to win this money, right? Spread the money out. Like, give these guys, run another tournament.
Any of those guys that I named, don't you think they would love the opportunity to bowl for 100 grand one more time? And all those guys I named, would anybody here be shocked? I mean, would it be inconceivable that those guys might make a run and have a chance at that 100 grand? You know, so like, I don't get it. You know, I just, you already have a situation where guys who are doing well are starving, or might not even be breaking even. And you're going to do $100,000 first prize event for 5 people? For 5 people? I mean, come on, PBA.
Yeah, it's a bad.
Seriously, if you're going to spend 200 grand to run an event, and you're going to put 100,000 on top, give everybody a shot at that 100 grand.
So you know what I would have done, Mike? If I'm the PBA tournament director, if I was Tom Clark, you know what I would do? I would have ran a top 64 tournament for the top 64 players who earn points. Okay, I would have ran a big bracket, best 4 out of 7, and the number 1 ranked, similar to the Masters, but I would have had everybody bowling best 4 out of 7 matches until you get to like the top like 4, and then or top maybe 8, and then maybe you run best 3 out of 5 or best 2 out of 3 matches on the total TV time that they have to air, because they had 2 hours yesterday, right? And what was it today? 2 hours.
2 hours.
So you have 4 hours of total time, right? So you could run 3-game matches in an hour, right? You run 2 out of 3 matches.
3-game matches are going to take.
I'm just saying,
half, right?
But think about the excitement you have like the players' points. You call it the Super Slam, and you have the top 64 in points bowling a match play bracket tournament for 100 grand.
What you just said is pretty much what the PBA playoffs was. Was it not? It was the top, whatever.
Right,
I think
right.
it was less than 64, I think.
Yeah.
But it was basically you had to earn your way in.
Right.
There were a lot of guys that made it. It was
Right.
for 100,000 for first, right? Now, I understand that they did the playoffs to fill TV time that they needed to fill, right? Because there were numerous shows with the playoffs when they would tape it and tape it and tape it, and then the semifinals and finals most years would be live. Why couldn't they do that again?
I don't know.
Why couldn't they do that and just have the playoff? Why just bowl throughout the week this week?
Right.
Put it on Bowl TV. Don't do any preliminary shows. Don't show any of the preliminary matches. Show them all on Bowl TV, which, let's be honest, Rob, would have been amazing for us because every night you would have been sitting down like, all right, let me pick what matches I want to watch of this matchup. We could have watched it all the way down to the semifinal, to the Final Four, and they could have had the Final Four yesterday and today.
And look, you don't even got to pay $100,000 for first. You put 50 grand on first, and then you spread the rest of the money down to the top, 5 or 6. Give these guys a chance to win.
That's another thing that I wanted to touch on because I had somebody reach out to me and give me some info on what the prize payments were. Are you ready for this?
Yeah.
It was 100, 40, 18, 12, 10.
Yeah, they could have definitely done some damage with that money, Mike. You could have done 50, 75,000, and then you could have and match play tournaments are even better for guys like AJ and Stu and Tom, because you give them, match play, really anything happens, right? And it gives them a really chance to beat.
Oh, especially when they're pretty easy. When they're pretty soft. Listen, you're talking to somebody that never comes on here and says that. Okay, Rob, the last time you got flamed for saying a PBA tour pattern was easy, I threw you under the bus because I came on here and said, don't agree with that. These guys are the best in the world. They're going to whack them no matter what you put out. They looked really soft.
Well, you want to hear how soft they were, Mike?
Oh, well, they were so soft they almost beat the scoring record for a 5-man show. Okay,
they were so soft that I bet
somebody would bowl a 300 and hit it.
Well, not somebody bowl 300. I bet that the match of Tackett and McCune, there was going to be a 300 bowled, and obviously Tackett bowled 300 plus 4,000, Mike.
Wild
at a $10 bet, and I pressed it for the final match that someone was going to bowl 300.
And he almost did it.
He almost did it. I almost won a back-to-back bet. Mike, there were 34 300 shot in the history of bowling.
On TV.
And I bet that he was going to bowl 300, and he did it.
They were going to be back-to-back.
I almost.
Right,
if Elmo didn't gag it, because he gagged it. Let's call a gag a gag. He threw that ball a ton slower than he was throwing the rest of the shots. If he throws that 11th one, there's no doubt in my mind he throws a 12 strike. He bowls 300. But Mike, I mean, look, it's still technically, yeah.
Highest composite average finals on national TV. Okay, highest composite average for finals on national TV. If you're a fan of bowling like we are, you know what tournament has that record. You know what event has that record. It's Erie.
I love
it's
Erie.
Erie. Okay. Today, I had the exact number and now I can't find it. Jeez Louise. Today, I think the composite average was 264. And Rob, there was a 215 bowled. There was a 215 bowled. And the composite average was 264.
That's crazy.
With a 215 and a couple matches where it was out. It was done by the time the 10th frame was done. So guys weren't even given 100%. Okay?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to watch that. That's not what I tune in to watch the best in the world,
The betting made it interesting for me, though. That's what made it interesting for me today. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, you could imagine how hype I was when Tackett struck out for me to win. You know, that $10 bet, right, for $400. I mean, like, I was super like, I've never been into a 300 game that hype in my whole life, honestly. You
True.
know, but like, yeah, like, I mean, they weren't bowling for a major. It kind of felt like an exhibition in a way, right, to showcase the best in the world. And they wanted to probably put softer lane conditions out to give these guys like essentially it felt like they were giving them like a victory lap, right? Like where
It's
they
like
were just
batting practice.
right.
It's
It
like
was
a
like the
home
home
run
run
derby.
derby.
Yeah.
Exactly what it was. The problem is they could have used that TV time and that money to help the pros, like you said, that were in the 25th, 25 to maybe 40 points this year, that maybe could have won a bailout tournament and made the whole rest of the year for themselves, right? Like,
Whole year, 2 years.
yeah, I'm just saying, like
I
a
mean,
$75,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 win for a guy like AJ Johnson or AJ Chapman or Keiko or Doherty, the guys you named, makes their whole year. I mean, that's a whole year's salary for anybody really. And the PBA really needs to reevaluate this the Super Slam next year and bring back the playoffs, and do something in that nature.
when bowling is no longer on TV, okay, it's stuff like this that I will look at as to blame.
Bet Rivers did make the finals for 300. They dropped it by literally 15 by 15 to 1. And that's how easy essentially, like, and we still almost won on a plus $2,500 bet for a 300.
And I understand, like, some fans out there, they love the high scores, they love
I
seeing
mean, I'm
guys
not
whack them, etc.
I
And
didn't
I'm
really
not
care about it.
totally
It wasn't a
against it
major.
either.
It
But
wasn't a major.
listen, you got four of the five best bowlers in the world. Okay, if you want to say 3 out of 5, fine. But I'm putting Buttriff in that too, right? You got 4 out of 5 of the best bowlers in the world, plus Kevin McCune, who's sort of sticking his flag in the ground, establishing himself, right? I really want to see those guys compete against each other on something that really challenges them and makes the competition better because of that. I don't like watching 279 to 279. 300 to 279. I don't
I
know.
mean,
It's
that's
just
just old school. That's a little bit old school. I mean, I think as long as the PBA keeps it a good mix, and they keep away those scores from the majors. Like I'm fine with the couple of tournaments being a score fest. It happens in
oh, but
everything.
you know what they made sure to do? You know what they made sure to do? Kevin Weeks with
Dana
the
Brooke,
comment here.
Dana
When we
Brooke, what
talk
up,
about
girl?
that cheap $15 belt Belmo won, spends hundreds of thousands of dollars for that. Do you know what they didn't forget to do, or what they did put some thought into, was how do we promote the WWE on this show? Oh, let's make sure we get that done. Let's
Ooh,
have
Dana Brooke,
let's
let's
have the
go.
the hot chick from WWE
Hell
show up
yeah, holla
and
back. What up,
have her
girl?
throw a shot down the lane. Ceremonial
Ooh,
first ball. Yeah, we'll just have a ceremonial first ball. Let's
I
just
liked
pull
it.
stuff out of our ass all
I
over the
liked it.
place.
I liked it. You want to bring in some ratings, man? Get a
You know
hot
what?
Dana Brooke in there.
I like the ceremonial first ball too, but not just to pull it out of the hat whenever you need to feature somebody. Like, if you're going to do that for every event. Do that for every show,
I do
right?
like a ceremonial first ball. I mean, look, like I'm a WWE fan. I used to be. I don't watch it anymore. But like I would rather see, maybe like a PBA Hall of Famer, throw a ceremonial first ball out. I think a lot of people would appreciate the nostalgia and the tradition of guys like Marshall Holman, guys we haven't seen in a really long time, right? That are doing well. Throw ceremonial first balls out,
I
right?
think that a local patch pirate should always be the person to throw out the ceremonial first ball.
We should be it.
It should be a local patch pirate, and they should give him 5 minutes of practice before he goes to throw the ball, and then they should bring him on and have him throw the ball. We should see how if he can strike or not.
Dude, by the way, Dave writes in the chat, PBA should have put sweep the rack throughout the first ball. Yo, like I would be nervous, but on that condition, I would be pretty, excited that I was probably going to hit the pocket. I would hope so at least. But there should be like maybe some nostalgia with the ceremony of first balls. I don't mind that idea. Look, Not a big deal, right? I don't want to spend too much time. But Pete Weber, every ball.
Jimmy suggested that Weber should exclusively throw the first ball on every TV show. We'd get some good entertainment with that, Jimmy, no doubt.
Dude, I mean, look, like I'm fine with WWE coming in. I am, because I feel like that brings in maybe a whole different audience, because there's millions, if not billions, of people who watch WWE. But come on, give me like a Roman Reigns or a I don't know, a Hulk Hogan or something. Somebody who can move the needle when it comes to ratings. Like Dana Brooke is cool and all because she's hot, but I would preferably would be cool. If you saw some of like the real big name WWE stars coming on. Stone Cold Steve Austin, throwing a ball and then tossing a beer out in the crowd, and then doing that, I think would be pretty funny. But anyway, all right, Mike. So Belmonte wins 100,000. Doesn't really make or break anything for me. It's just one of those things where the Super Slam was an exhibition. I mean, I watched it. I enjoyed it today a lot more than yesterday, obviously, because I won some money, but also because there was some competition. But ultimately, I think the PBA needs to reevaluate the Super Slam next year.
Yeah, I think the PBA needs to stop. If they're not going to, come up with something better that's going to be more solidified in terms of what they do year to year, then they need to stop letting Fox dictate so much like what they do or don't do. And they should come up with what they do, stick to that schedule, stick to those events, those formats, and then just fit what they do inside the TV shows for Fox and find a way to get that done. I'm kind of over creating these events just to fill TV time that Fox needs the PBA to fill.
Yeah, I want to pull up Robert Townsend. By the way, beautiful picture, beautiful family, Robert. 300, 279 would be awesome if they still had crowds like Erie. It's the atmosphere that makes the show a lot like the PBA league. I 100% agree with you. That Erie atmosphere will never be redone, and I really think they need to think about bringing back an arena final like they had in Erie. Forget the digital boards. Can we get rid of the digital boards? Can we just like the wall, like the Germany wall? Could we like get one of those like mallets and just like go on there and just bash the wall down? Seriously, I'm tired of that digital fucking board in the back. It's the worst thing ever. It makes the show feel like there's like nobody there. It's terrible. Okay, knock those down. Bring back a couple of even the Sean Rash, the stadium, like when he won the Masters at in Wisconsin at the Miller, I believe it was Miller Park, right?
Park, yeah.
That was an awesome atmosphere. Definitely different. And I agree with you. High scores, fine. Not majors, okay?
No, not forget about majors. Not for $100,000.
My brother's like, how are you gonna get people? Nah, you just you cut and paste. There's a lot of video editing you could do these days to get people looking like they're there. But no, people would come. I think it would be enough where you could like bring in them. People would show up because of a stadium setting. I feel like more people would come knowing that they wouldn't have to cram into a Bolero and maybe get a little bit of a bad seat. Anyway,
our guy Jeff Linden.
Lindy, look, Lindy's bags. I got it right here.
Best rosin bag ever had. He asked, can you guys promote my drawing coming up on 6/11? All proceeds are going to breast cancer, striking against breast cancer. And how is your stock on grip sacks? Need more, Jeff?
I'll reach out to you.
Yeah, we're going to reach out because we're running out. We want to maybe run it back, do something different. But everybody, be aware. I actually saw this online. I'm glad you brought it up, Jeff, because it's not something that I have in the forefront of my mind when I'm on here doing the show. But our guy Jeff does a fundraiser every year for cancer. And he's running a raffle, a drawing that's going to be drawn on 6/11. You guys can check it out. Go to his Facebook page if you want any info on it. And definitely some great prizes in that, and obviously a good cause that he's trying to support there. So go check that out. Jeff, you just made me think of something else as well that I promoted on Twitter, and I meant to bring up last week. There is a ball rep for Brunswick that I had the opportunity to meet last week or 2 weeks ago while the guys were here for for the players tournament, and Wojner is his last name, and he owns a pro shop in a bowling center, and the bowling center burnt down recently. And there's a GoFundMe out there for him and for his shop to get him back on his feet. Help him with his loss of income while they figure things out with the bowling center. So again, if people are looking to do some good in the bowling community, that's another one that you can look up and support. Rob, I actually sent a nice donation on behalf of both of us to that one. And yeah, I just encourage people to go check it out. Do some good in the bowling community. Listen, people make us out to be the bad guys around here, but if you check the facts, we're actually out here trying to do some good for the bowling community, at least from time to time. So definitely something that I wanted to make people aware of, and just encourage people to go support. If somebody could bring that up in the chat, I know people have that GoFundMe out there somewhere. If somebody could bring that up in the chat and post that in the chat, I would appreciate it if you could post the link. My internet is such that I don't want to open another tab here and try and do that while I'm on the show, because I feel like it'll slow everything down. All right, Rob. Listen, I would say let's run the ladder on this show, but what is there to say? What is there to say? It was like you miss once and you're dead. Yes?
Yeah,
two in the game, 288 winning score, 300 winning score, 260 winning score, 279 winning score, 260 winning score. So I don't really think there's that much there to say. I think that if you missed once, you were kind of out.
Yeah, I mean, it was okay to watch today. Like I said before, I didn't really mind it. Yesterday was shitty. They need to reevaluate the Super Slam going forward.
Jimmy says he's not riding with Chad Murphy. Oh, never, son. Never.
What a bad situation. Was that Little Bears Pro Shop, Mike?
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
I got it.
Yeah, bring that up, please. Yeah, show that to the people.
So here's the link in the chat.
Milk carton, the lane machine. That's too good. That is too good.
So there it is for the Little Bears Pro Shop. They've already received about 6,500 or 6,490 in donations. They're looking
for
about
the goal?
10,000.
All right, come on, let's go. Let's sweep the rack community. Let's help out, even if it's $5-10. Go on there. You like our show? You listen to our show? We don't ever encourage people to send us money for anything. In fact, there's been a few people who have given us donations while this YouTube nonsense goes on, and we gave them back. Okay, because we're not in it for that. We don't care about that. But we do have a little bit of a community here. And yeah, we would ask that our community, step up, go support that. Even if it's $5-10, go throw something towards that. And let's do some good in the bowling community. All right, Rob. With that said, are we ready for worst of the week?
Sure, let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, you up first or I'm up first?
I mean, mine's an easy one. Worst of the week. I mean, it's a given. It has to go to USBC and the lane people doing the lanes at the USBC Queens. I mean, if they didn't win worst of the week, then it would be a tragedy to worst of the week. So my worst of the week goes to how the USBC handled the USBC Queens lanes debacle. Not the person.
What you're saying is you're giving Chad Murphy worst of the week.
Well, yes. If Chad Murphy was the one responsible for directing on how to handle the situation and how to,
which he clearly was,
then yes, I give worst of the week to Chad.
Chad, Murphy. Congratulations, bro.
Worst of the year, Chad
worst
Murphy.
of the week. Congratulations.
And guess what, Mike? I can't get fined. That's the beautiful thing about our show, Mike. Do you know how much love? You know how much money Tom Clark and Chad Murphy would have fined us in the 4 years we've been doing this show? And you know what the great thing about our show is too, is that we don't have like other partners and sponsors that could, pull sponsorships from us and shit. We just say it how it is, and that's why I like doing what we do.
Very true, son. Very true. Here's my worst of the week.
Oh, you got one from Reddit?
Nah, no, I don't. I don't.
Sorry, you
I
got that
wish
in my
I
head.
did.
Yeah, you got
I
that
wish
one
I
in my
did.
head. We might have to play that again one day.
This is a pretty good one though, because
Okay,
I
go for
always
it.
say that when I see evidence of patch piracy out there, I'm going to call it out. It's immediately going to go to the top of my list in terms of what we got. So my worst of the week this week comes from the Track Bowling web Facebook group page.
Okay.
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 And my worst of the week goes to Mark Prothero. Looks like that's what his last name is, Mark Prothero. Okay.
Congrats.
And it's not so much the post that gets my worst of the week. It's the picture, and it's the general idea here, right? So I'm going to have to show the picture on my cam here. His post says, "Track man with my trackmobile." Okay, track man with my trackmobile. Hashtag track bowling. Hashtag brands of Brunswick. And then it's got my man Mark Prothero in front of his car. Okay, it's a nice white car. Looks like maybe a Hyundai. Pretty sharp car. Tints on the windows. Looks good. He's got a track bowling shirt on. He's holding a track bowling ball. And then on his car, he put the track logo on the driver's side door of
So
his
with that,
car.
so is that considered like a patch pirate needs a ship, right? It
Okay.
needs a ship, right? The patch
Do you
pirate.
see this?
It needs a ship.
Do you see this?
That's like the Black Pearl, Mike.
My man put the track logo
I see it.
on his whip.
Yeah,
Guys,
it's like the Black Pearl. Arr, the Black Pearl, matey.
guys, we don't need to take it that far. Okay? We don't need to take it that far. All right? The
John
shirts are enough.
Stevenson wants to know
Okay.
if this person's a friend of the other podcast.
I don't know. If he
Oh
is,
man,
total
I don't
coincidence.
want to deal with that drama anymore. Anyway, all right, Mike. Good show. I was all riled up about the USBC Queens debacle. Should be a good listen for people that, especially the PWBA ladies who don't want to be fined. We did the yelling for you guys, for you ladies. So yeah. So final thoughts, Mike. I'm gonna give it to you first.
Looking forward to watching the finals of the Queens.
37 and
night.
38, the TV pair. That would be the best.
I mean, if he does that, he's trolling all of us. Let's
That would
just be clear.
amazing.
Yeah, looking forward to watching the
CBS
finals of
Sports.
the Queens. Start my summer league this week.
Oh,
So
league review coming back.
We'll be back to league review, and I'm bowling on some PBA patterns. Yep.
Okay,
So
good.
So it'll be an entertaining league review with misery, pain, and frustration, as the Reddit poster said. I got some balls being drilled this week.
Uh-oh.
I'm drilling like 6 balls this week.
6 balls. You didn't pay for all 6 balls. You're a new patch pirate.
I didn't pay for any of the 6 balls.
Mike. Patch pirate, matey.
No, you're wrong about that. See, I don't have any obligations for the free balls that I get.
Well, when I get free balls, it's always a big deal. Or I get called patch pirates. I get called all kinds of shit when I get free shit.
True. I do like to give you a hard time.
All right.
Yes.
Well, I want to report on what you're drilling next week when you drill up, and let us know what you think.
And let me say this: I gave a couple balls away too. I'm always trying to show love in the bowling community, spread love in the bowling community. You know what I'm saying?
The one thing we will do for people out there,
Bella wants to know if we have a pick to make the finals of the Queens. If I'm going to take one, Bella, I'll take one pick, okay? Jordan Richards. It's a chalk pick, but man, she's starting out on EJ Tackett, Simo levels of dominance here this year, early in the PWBA season. Cherie Tan, for sure. TD in the chat, another good, chalky pick, but definitely a good pick. Rob, anybody that you got your eye on?
Yeah, I was actually like looking at the bracket just to see, but I mean, how could you?
Jordan Richards out already? Ooga Booga, the troll, saying Jordan Richards is out already? Really? Oh man, that's shocking. Okay.
Honestly, I think one of the matches to watch would be tomorrow is Julia Bond versus Shannon O'Keefe. I'll never pick against Shannon O'Keefe. She's when it comes to majors, it seems like she's always on the show, Shannon O'Keefe. So that would be my pick.
True. Yeah, good pick. Good pick.
Yeah. And I think the winner of that match between Julia Bond and Shannon O'Keefe gets to the show. That's my pick. So
Okay.
we'll see.
All right, no doubt. Rob, we'll be back next Sunday, I would imagine, right?
I think next Sunday, yeah, we'll see. We'll have to talk about the Queens finals, and then
yeah, we have to talk about our schedule too, because now that the PBA season is over, we were doing 2 shows a week. I would imagine we'll probably go back to 1 for the better part of the summer. But yeah, look for us this week on social media. We'll definitely keep the people updated. Follow us on social media. He's at BrooklynRob11 on Twitter. I am at the 215th. Email us, sweeptherack@gmail.com. We always love hearing from our listeners. Again, shout to Connor Egan for sending us that email and giving us that breakdown. Shout to Jeff Lindenmuth for his help with the rosin bag. Support his fundraiser. Shout to Little Bears Pro Shop. Support that as well. Okay, and yeah, that's it. We'll see everybody next week.
No, we appreciate everybody. Take care. Later.
You are now listening to Sweep the Rack podcast featuring Brooklyn Rob and Big Mike.